Coming up next.
But I had four in 4 years. So I
Ooh,
had four under four at one time.
ooh.
And I was drowning. Like I was trying to, from the outside, I think everyone thought, oh, she has it together. But inside, I was just depleted, was wondering, what did I do to myself? I wanted so badly to be a mother, and I was miserable at the time. Like I was really having a hard time like being present as a mom, right? And so I had to take a step back and figure out like how can I stop comparing myself to other moms or what I see on social media because we go on down that rabbit hole. And how can I make this work for me so that I can enjoy these babies that I have and enjoy this life we've built?
Welcome to Faith Over Addiction podcast, where the chains of fixing and striving are broken and joy is rediscovered in Christ. You're here because you know there's more for you, a life beyond addiction's chaos, rooted in God's peace and promises. This is the place where Christian women like you learn to release the weight of fixing and striving and instead lean into God's strength to create a home filled with love, grace, and hope. She is clothed with strength and dignity. Proverbs 31:25. That's you. You may not feel like it yet, but you are stronger than you know. And God has so much more for you than carrying someone else's addiction. Here, we'll uncover how to set healthy boundaries with love and a little humor. Find resilience and grace in the messy moments of life. Celebrate small victories and embrace joy like never before. Lean into God's promises for restoration and strength because He's not done with your story or your loved ones. This is your invitation to rise up, embrace your worth in God's kingdom, and take back what's been stolen by addiction, your peace, your joy, your future. Your faith is the foundation, and your boundaries are the bridge, and God's truth is your guide. I'm Tanya Joya, your host and fellow traveler on this journey through the chaos of addiction. I'm here to cheer you on, equip you with tools that work, and share the truth that's changed my life. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8:10. Together, we'll uncover how to create safe, loving space for healing, starting with your own heart and home. By setting boundaries, trusting God's plan, and embracing His truth, you can reclaim your joy, your peace, and your family's future. Then you will be able to stand firm for your family and legacy as a kingdom daughter, a woman who can laugh at the days to come, knowing her identity is secure in Christ. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and get comfortable. Let's walk this journey together. We're about to take back what's been stolen, create a safe, healing space for you and your family, and rediscover the joy God has waiting for you. Welcome to the Faith Over Addiction podcast. I have the great pleasure of introducing Kristin Cogan. Now, she is a mom of 5, also a licensed therapist, as well as helping moms with breaking free from the cycle of burnout, self-doubt, returning to patience, calm, and confidence. She talks about emotional hygiene. What is that? We're going to discover what that is. And if you've ever wanted to stop yelling at your kids, Kristin has some great thoughts for you. So stay tuned. Kristin, give us an overview of how you came into this work and how many kids you have.
Yeah. So I came into it naturally. I mean, I was trained as a therapist and then I wasn't working. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I have 5 kids, ranging from 6 to 14. Or no, 15. She just turned 15 last week. So that's very important, right?
Yeah.
Because we're starting to drive, all that fun stuff. Um, but I had four in 4 years. So I
Ooh,
had four under four at one time.
ooh.
And I was drowning. Like I was trying to, from the outside, I think everyone thought, oh, she has it together. But inside, I was just depleted, was wondering, what did I do to myself? I wanted so badly to be a mother, and I was miserable at the time. Like I was really having a hard time like being present as a mom, right? And so I had to take a step back and figure out like how can I stop comparing myself to other moms or what I see on social media because we go on down that rabbit hole. And how can I make this work for me so that I can enjoy these babies that I have and enjoy this life we've built? And that really started with me figuring out this whole emotional hygiene thing. Because as moms, we're told like we have to give all the time, right? We need to give to everyone and do and do and do. And that's just not sustainable if we're not taking care of ourselves. And so the emotional hygiene piece is really right now I call it my like signature ripple effect method because if we're not taking care of ourselves, it ripples into all areas of our life, right? In a negative way. And when we are taking care of ourselves, we see so much abundance in our life and it really impacts our kids, our spouses, anyone that's around us. So what you're like, what is emotional hygiene, right?
Yes, yes. Give us
Seriously.
a concrete definition and example. I mean, we know what taking a shower is, but what is that for our emotions?
Right. Yeah. Like showering, all that, for our physical health, right? Um, Emotional hygiene is really the things we do that are conducive to maintaining a healthy mental health state. Okay. And the way I look at this is it has like four pillars. So, and we need to make sure that all four pillars are kind of working together, kind of like the legs of a chair. And
Mhm.
if you're leaving one out, it's going to be wobbly. If you're leaving more out, the chair's falling over. So it's really important to come up with your list of like all the four pillars, and I'll go through those in a second, so that you have a detailed plan for you to look at.
Mhm.
And then to reflect weekly, monthly, am I hitting all four areas? You don't have to do them all every day, but once a month would be nice that we're actually like spreading ourselves out, right? Um, and that way we're finding that balance. And when we're doing these things, we feel better about ourselves. And that shows up in how we parent, how we're a friend, how we're a coworker. It just has this huge impact on every aspect of our life. Um, so should we go through the four pillars?
Give us an example of when you are not doing emotional hygiene. What happens before we go through?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about that ripple effect, and I think a lot of it took me a long time to be aware of when I come stomping in the house, going, "Why is this not done? Why is that not happening?" Da 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 da. I don't realize what truly I am radiating out to my family members.
Yes, that's a great example. Yeah, you walk into your kids' room and maybe it's a mess because they're kids. And the first thing you do is snap, and there's no connection with your kid. Like you're just snapping. Or maybe you're putting them to bed, and bedtime chaos is just causing you to feel overstimulated. And you're rushing through the book, and you're rushing through telling them goodnight, rushing through the bedtime prayers just to like get out of the room, right? And then you leave the room and you feel that guilt like, why did I do that? These are my babies. I want to enjoy this time. They're precious and they just want to connect with me. So like those feelings of guilt that come up afterwards, those are signs that you haven't been taking good care of your emotional hygiene. Those times you just snap for no reason, where you don't have that capacity to pause when you're triggered by something and then react in the manner that you would like to. And we all
Mm.
want to show up as a good, loving person, right? And that doesn't always happen. And usually that's a sign that we're just not taking very good care of ourselves because we're giving to everybody else.
Can you break down? Can you break down overstimulated from this is just the way I am? And there's another one that says, if you would just handle your part, then I could handle my part. So I've thrown you some big categories.
Yeah.
But what overstimulated is the word we use, and we look at our kid and we're like, we fed you red dye and sugar. No wonder you're hanging from the ceiling. But what is it like for a mom? How does a mom get overstimulated?
Right. It can be simple things like too much noise, too much visual clutter, being touched too much, like touched out for the day. Um, all of that stuff slowly builds up through the day. But we are able, if we take care of our nervous system, which all emotional hygiene is doing, is helping us regulate our nervous system, where we feel calmer. There's the term window of tolerance, which is the state of our nervous system that we want to be in instead of that flight or fight or like shutdown mode. Window of tolerance where we feel safe and connected and like we can make good decisions. Um,
Hmm.
but a lot of us don't live in the window of tolerance or rarely get there because we don't know how. As a child, we didn't learn how to regulate ourselves. And so now we're trying to learn while at the same time teaching our children to regulate themselves. And it can just be a big mess because it's hard and it feels
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
And yeah, it takes work. And you feel like, how many times have you heard, go take a deep breath? I tell my clients all the time, take a deep breath because it works, but it feels so simple and small and like, how is this doing anything? But the more you do it, it has like that cumulative effect that it increases that sense of safety in your body. And then you don't have that sense of overstimulation, overwhelm that builds up.
That safety piece you've hit a key that we've been talking about all year too of who who is responsible for my safety. And sometimes I have to stop and think. So how do you help people determine how to get safe when they feel overstimulated or the world is coming at them or crazy things are happening, because it happens.
It does happen. And I think for a lot of people, especially people that have experienced a lot of trauma in their life, big or little, um, they don't even know what safe feels like.
Mm.
So oftentimes it's just learning, what does that feel like in my body? Is there a place in my body that feels neutral or calm, instead of numb or racing, right? So a lot of times we just have to start like, what does safety feel like? And then once you can find that spot, it's just like, how can we help enhance it? How can we grow it? And that's, taking some time to sit with yourself, reflect, take some deep breaths. Um, I mean, there's lots of other things we can do to increase our safety too, like feelings of safety, like polyvagal work. So, like training or toning that vagal nerve that runs through our body, um, because that helps us, our nervous system shift from the flight or fight or shutdown modes to this window of tolerance, and it's more flexible. Um, but it takes practice, and it's really hard if you have always lived in a state of flight or fight. That feels normal to you, almost like a home away from home, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we gravitate back to that because that's what we know. And
Mm-hmm.
feeling safe is unfamiliar and uncomfortable and a little scary sometimes for us. So it takes practice to get comfortable with that, which I think a lot of people like skip over because it seems like, well, it's safe. I should know what that feels like and it should be good.
Isn't it odd that feeling safe feels odd, whereas yelling and rage feels normal, or shutting down, whichever one you
Yeah.
use, running away, those types of things. So you're there at home, four kids under four, you're already a therapist.
Hmm.
What do you do?
Yeah. I was like, okay, I need to start practicing what I preach, right? And so I did like this deep dive and I was like, okay, I kind of mapped out like what are the areas that I need to work on so that I feel safe and calmer in my body, no matter what's going on around me. And so I narrowed it down to four things. Physical things. So these are the things that I do or we do on a daily basis that make us just feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll go back to these in a second, but social. So these are our social interactions, the good and the bad ones. Like, how are we managing those? And emotional. These are the feelings that we want to feel more of in our life. And then the last one's spiritual. So the things we do, that lift our spirits and, nurture our soul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go through each one. And I really, when I'm working one on one with clients, I have them create this list. And we want these lists to be as long as possible. And then once they have their list, they're going to put them someplace in their home where they're going to see them every day. So it's a visual reminder, oh, hey, have you done any of these things today? Um, and the more you see it, the more likely you're to do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so let's go back to physical, which is the first pillar. These are the things that we do that make us feel good on a daily basis. So these could be things like getting dressed for the day, getting out of the exercise clothes, getting out of the pajamas, just putting something on where you feel a little better. Maybe
Mhm.
it's putting on makeup or doing your hair. For me, like if I look good, I feel better about myself.
Mhm.
Um, could be making your bed. It could be going for a walk. What are some things that you do that are physical that help you feel better?
So I learned, oh my gosh, it's probably been 30 years. Making my bed, I had a boss that said, if you make your bed, you're less likely to get back in it. So I make my bed, and I have some pillows. I'm not overly pillowed, but I fluff those up, make the bed and leave it there. And then I'm a big tea drinker,
Hmm.
and I use a coconut almond milk that's kind of expensive, but it is the one of the luxuries that I keep in the house and say, this is for me.
I
This is
love
mine. Nobody else needs to touch this. If I grant you permission, so that's another little thing. But the piece that has been the most pivotal for me is I have a meditation group that I join early in the morning. And I am really against getting on your phone early in the morning.
that.
This
Hmm.
meditation group, the host says everybody's name when they come in. So my name is called. We spend 20 minutes in silence, and then we spend approximately 15 to 20 minutes in holy sharing and holy listening. And the thing that I find the most valuable about that is one, my name is called, the silence, but then the last piece is that my value is not in performance. My value is just in showing up. And that's a
Yes.
fantastic piece. So getting my morning kicked off in that fashion gives me that movement. Now, I'm going to argue with you about getting out of the workout clothes. I work from home, and I specifically chose a job where I didn't have to put pants on to go.
Right. Well, and it's different for every person, right?
Yes,
The things
absolutely.
that make you feel good, not what makes your best friend feel good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then this is great. So like making your bed and doing your meditation. So for me, definitely making my bed and getting dressed and like having the kitchen tidy is kind of like the things
Mhm.
for me that really help. And uh, when you notice that you stop doing those things, like there's a day you didn't make your bed, or maybe it's 2 days you didn't make your bed, that's kind of like your signal to yourself, like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? Why am I letting this slide? And it's kind of like the signal that you're kind of going down that slippery slope that things are going to start feeling chaotic again. And we need to be curious about that. Like, what's going on? Why are we stopping? And like, how can we get back into it?
Mhm.
So if you see me like with a messy bun and yoga clothes every day, like I definitely have those days.
Yeah.
But like 2 weeks in a row, you might need to call me up and be like, "Hey, girl, what's going on?
Do you
We
need a
need
coffee date?
yeah, like we need to reassess." But yeah, it's really important to figure out what it is particularly for you that makes you feel good. So the next one is social. So the first piece of the social column is like figuring out, are you an introvert or extrovert in the way that you like to recharge your batteries? So
Mm-hmm.
for me, definitely I need my alone time. And with four little babies, I was not getting a lot of alone time.
Mm-mm.
So I
Mm-mm.
had to figure out how to get that into my life. I know for other people, like being around people, being around adults is how they recharge their energy. So just notice what that is for you. And then we want to look at the people that we interact with in our daily lives, or people maybe that we're friends with or we want to interact with more, and make a list. Who are your friends that you want to connect with so that you can make sure that every once in a while you're calling them, you're sending them a text, you're getting out of the house and going to meeting for coffee if you can. But also on this list, we want to make the list of people that deplete us or drain us, and that maybe we need to spend less time around or no time around if we can. So really boundaries go in this category too, like reflecting on, am I good at boundary setting or do I need to work on that? And then also like any social commitments you have other than like work and family life. Are you volunteering? Are you saying yes to everything you're asked to do and reassessing? Are those things really important to me or can I let some of those go? So just being aware socially, like, am I interacting with people? Are they people that support me and love me, or are they people that just take from me and leave me feeling depleted?
I like that you said it in the middle of a sentence of other adults. Because I only had two, but I remember my husband was working late. He was working late shifts, and we were having dinner together. Well, with a 2 and 4 year old, there's not much conversation. And that's super important to me is to have that end of the day wrap up. So what I
Yeah.
started doing, there was a couple who did not have children, dearly wanted children. Once a week, we would all have dinner together. And if my husband was around, great. If he wasn't, then he'd join us when he could. But it was really nice to look forward to that because I knew at least once a week I would have that evening adult conversation. Now the kids were there and everybody loved the kids, but I can only imagine 4 under 4, if there's no adult with you all day long, you're like, I just need to say words that are not, no, stop that, let's play, here's some Cheerios. Right?
Right. Exactly. Yes, I love that you created that in your space um, to connect with other adults. And yeah, finding that for me was huge. And when I realized that and made that connection, it really helped me be able to be present with the kids when I was with them. And like you said, I could be with other adults, like maybe on a play date or something, and the kids were still there, but I was getting that like emotional and intellectual stimulation by talking to someone that, had a bigger vocabulary than 1,000 words.
Or wanted to talk about, I had boys, or wanted to talk about snot and boogers and guns. I'm like,
Right.
no,
Hmm.
can only do
Exactly.
so much.
Yeah. Okay, so the next pillar is emotional. So emotional is really reflecting on like how do you want your life to feel?
Hmm.
Maybe it already feels this way, maybe it doesn't. If it does, great, how can we enhance that? If it doesn't, like maybe you want more calmness, more peace, more fun, more loving. Like how can we start implementing that in our day? And then really it's just like maybe picking one of these emotions each day and like setting an intention for the day. Like today I'm going to seek out peace. Maybe you're a person that journals and you can journal about like what would that look like in my life to have more peace. I love the meditating. Like you could meditate on one of these words. Um, for me, oftentimes now is fun is the one that I pick because, as a mom, you just go through the motions trying to get everything done, check off all the lists, and maybe you're connecting, but not in that fun, like happy way with your kids, right? You're just doing the things that you have to do. And so I want to remind myself, like, I want to have fun with my kids. I want them to think that I'm a fun mom. And so I'll journal about that, or I'll just set the intention today, like, I'm going to seek out fun. Like, how can I show up as a more fun mom? And just the act of like putting it out there in your mind helps you see it more throughout the day. Like where our focus goes, the energy flows to that, and we are more likely to see it.
I love that you talk about it for the day. Before I had kids, I babysat for a lot of and got paid in resort areas to do that. And I would bring a fun bag and we'd have fun. I mean, I wasn't doing chores, I wasn't doing all that. So I thought, I want to remember this when I have kids. I want to be the babysitter. Because when we hire the babysitter to come in, we're not, okay, you need to do 10 loads of laundry and make sure the dishes are done and check the grocery list and discipline the kids and all that stuff. No, we want the babysitter to have a great time so the kids have a good time so we won't feel guilty when they come home. So
Yes.
I love it that you say for the day because we set these intentions of, I want peace in the house. Well, maybe that's not possible all the time.
Right.
But what if you got up? We were just talking before we got on. I got mine are 18 and 20. We got to sit down, have waffles, look at we're traveling next year, look at some things of what we wanted to do, and had a good time. But that doesn't
Hmm.
mean I'm going to be glued to them for the rest of the day, right?
Right.
I have the luxury of mine are adults. But it's also the same with little ones too. Don't you think that that good time, then they need some time to process and be by themselves. I can't be their entertainment all day long.
Oh, no. Yes. They have to learn to entertain themselves, or yeah, it's no good for anybody. Yeah, definitely quality over quantity when it comes to spending time with the kids. And that's why it's so important to be able to figure out how to be present with them so that you can sit down for 20 minutes and not get sucked into your phone where you're scrolling or not be thinking the whole time, like, I really hate playing trucks and I don't want to be here. Um, if you're able to show up in a more connected way, your kid will feel that too. But it doesn't have to be 24/7 for sure. No one has
That's
that
the
to give.
That's the ripple effect that I was talking about earlier. When I come stomping through the house, they hide, right?
Hmm.
But when I come in and I'm peaceful and I'm just going about my thing, they come out and they
Yeah.
learn that as kiddos. And trucks, I was okay with trucks. It was Legos, man. I just, oh, Legos was such a struggle because it never matched what was on the box and everybody was disappointed, me included.
Yes. Yes. Oh, and I want to point out here because I think moms fall in, a lot of moms don't like to play like with toys, right, with their kids. And then they guilt themselves about that. And that's okay. You're better. There's probably something you're better at that you can do with them. So maybe you like to bake and that can be your thing that you do for quality time, right? It doesn't have to be physical play where you're on the floor. So don't guilt yourself if you don't love that.
Well, and the other thing that I mentioned one day, and another mom looked at me and said, "You can do that," is I would take them to the playground and play with them on the playground because I enjoyed that part of being outside and those types of things. She's like, "No,
Hmm.
I just take them to the playground and turn them loose." And she thought she said, I could go down the slide with them. I could get on the swings with them. I could put two of them on one side and we could do the teeter totter. It's when you expand the box of what play looks like.
Hmm.
One of my most favorite games my son created, it was a game called Sleep. It was my favorite game. He would bring out the pillow and bring out the blanket and he'd say, "Sleep, mommy." And we always had a hug, kiss, and a prayer routine. So he'd read me a book, he'd do a hug, kiss, and a prayer. I got to sleep for about 5 minutes before he wanted to restart the whole game. But letting him create and have control over the game,
Yes.
just thought this was magnificent. He could put me to bed rather than me putting him to bed, which actually Kristin made putting him to bed easier.
Hmm. I love that. And you're right, letting them have that sense of control for the 10, 15, 20 minutes that you're going to do something with them. Let them choose. Let them kind of lead because that gives them such like a sense of accomplishment and they're proud of that. Um, that has a ripple effect in their life as they turn into adults.
And they're often mimicking, what I found was they're often mimicking things that you do that they enjoy. So it gives you a little
Hmm.
clue on, oh, this is a part that I do for them that they enjoy. Because, Kristin, at times we feel like I do all this and nobody pays attention.
Hmm.
Nobody recognizes that all this is
Yeah.
happening in the background.
So it's nice, yeah, when you can be able to pick up on that and like see like, oh, they are listening, they are paying attention. That's huge. Okay, so the fourth pillar is spiritual.
Mhm.
This one I love the most, and it really needs to be our biggest list. So, spiritual again is the things that we do that lift our spirits and nurture our soul. This is where our coping skills come from. So, we want to have things that are super tiny, like your coconut cream for your coffee or your tea. Um, Not a big thing, right? But makes you happy every day.
Mhm.
To maybe you love to travel and like to take fun vacations. Well, you can't do that every day, but having that on your list for when you can is definitely a great thing to do. And then we want to fill it in between. Things like therapy would also go on here. Going to a church service, prayer, all those things go here too. But like if you like to ride your bike, if you like to go for walks, if you like to listen to music, anything and everything can go on here. And sometimes moms tell me, I don't know what I like to do because
Mm.
our identity sometimes gets lost as we become moms and think that our role as mom becomes our identity, and we're confusing the two. And so they need a little help. Like, how do I figure out what I like? And I always tell them, my clients to go back to what did you enjoy as a child? What
Mhm.
was fun for you?
Mhm.
So some like to paint or to make things with their hands or cooking, right? And so adding those things to their list. And maybe they haven't done those things in years, starting to do them again. I had one client, she said, I loved riding my bike when I was a kid. And I was like, great, go get a bike. And she
Yes.
did. And she rides her bike now. And she's like, this is so fun. So finding those things for you and reconnecting with that part of you. What are things that you like to do for fun?
So cooking is always a place that I lose space and time when when I'm not preparing a dinner or making sure, that we're fitting it in between everything that goes on. But the
Right.
riding the bike I think is super cool. I decided that I wanted like a beachcomber style bike. So what I did was I found one at the secondhand shop. I had somebody take it apart for me and I spray painted it this turquoise blue that I absolutely loved, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then I got a basket for it and I put spinny flowers on the front of the basket and I put tassels on the handlebars. It makes me smile just to go out and look at it. And before anybody panics, it cost me all of about $75 to do the whole thing rather than the $300 or $400. But here's the key. Nobody has a bike like this. So it's
Yeah.
absolutely unique. And I live in a little tiny town to where I can go to our physical center. I can go to the bank. I can go to the grocery store. So the fallout of this is I don't get in the car. I actually experience the outside when I do that. And I'm tickled every time I do it. And my guys don't ride bikes anymore. They have dirt bikes instead. So it's a me time thing.
Yeah.
And I don't feel guilty about it. I mean, we all rode bikes together once upon a time, but this bike came along long after they had quit, all those types of things. And I think, how do you release that guilt that says, I only have so much time and I need to be spending time with the kids? How do you release, or husband or, parent or whoever, how do you release yourself to get that special thing?
Right. You have to remind yourself that the most important relationship in your life, other than with God, is with yourself. And it's not with your kids, it's not with your spouse. Because if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, you can't model a good relationship for anyone else. You can't show up as your best self for your other people in your life. So you really have to reflect on that and just give yourself a minute to say, like, I'm doing the best I can, and it's okay to want something for myself, you know?
How do you deal with, so a lot of times when you get into a relationship with someone who is active in addiction,
Hmm.
it's because you want to feel needed, you want to feel valued. And then kids come along and they prove that you are needed and valued.
Hmm.
What is it that will begin to build that worth that says, I am worthy and I am worth it, whether anybody needs me or not?
Yeah, it starts so small because it feels so awkward, like giving yourself self-compassion, right? And so when you catch yourself beating yourself up, as we do for little things that we do, and that inner critic's coming out and telling you how terrible you are and what you should have done better, um, think about, like, what would you tell your child? What would you tell your best friend, your sister, if they were saying these things about themselves to you? Because we're often much kinder to other people than we are to ourselves. And then taking those words and saying them back to ourselves and really letting ourselves try to hear them. And this work doesn't happen overnight, right? I always remind my clients that small is big, slow is fast, and simple is powerful.
Those are all good because that's
Yeah.
the awkward moment of when you say, Yay, me! I did it. Whatever
Yes.
it was, if it was just getting the kitchen clean before you went to bed, or, I have a story that I talk about of I learned to snowplow. Unfortunately, I snowplowed up, almost drove us off the road. But yay, me, I did it. Right?
Yeah. Celebrate those little wins.
Absolutely. Now, Kristin, tell us a little bit more about the work you're doing, where people can find you, how they can get in touch with you and learn more of these four pillars.
Yes. I the best place to find me is on Instagram at Imperfectly Wonderful Motherhood. So come join my community there. I love to get messages from people and just chat and kind of work through things. And then primarily I do my work one-on-one with women to, hone in on these pillars so that they can start living a life that they love and not just feel like they have to go through the motions all the time. Because we only have this one life. We have this
Mhm.
one glorious life that we really need to learn how to cultivate and enjoy instead of just going through and being like, why am I even doing this? What's the point?
Awesome. And being on the other end, and you're getting closer with your oldest one, the days are long, but the years are short. We just went to our last football banquet after 9 years of football, and I'm thinking,
Uh,
it's precious. It was
yeah,
precious all the way around. We're finishing a senior year. And, not that my children will leave my life, but there is a section of it that's completed. They're
yeah,
getting ready to completely launch. And to those with young kids, I would say, yes, absolutely take good care of yourself because they are listening. I'm seeing a lot of the fruits of my labor
yeah,
because they did listen, they did hear. They're wonderful young men, and I'm going to enjoy and grieve them moving on to the next phase of their life because the last thing we want is a basement dweller who can't launch themselves and can't get moving, right? As much as
right.
we say we love them and we want them around, that's not it. That's not.
Yeah, that's not how you want them around. Yeah, you're
So
so right.
when women work with you, I know there are therapy rules. Do you have a coaching setup so that they can work with you
I
in
do. Yes.
anywhere around the world?
Yes, if you're in Texas, we can work on therapy and like really dive into trauma and stuff like that. If that's something, I do specialize in EMDR and brain spotting, which are specific trauma therapies. If you are anywhere else in the world, we can do coaching and really hone in onto how to love yourself better and show up, as the mom, as the partner that you want to be, and just really love your life.
I really want to put in a push for this. I would not have a relationship with my oldest son had I not raised my hand and said I needed to do the work. And I did the EMDR. It changed everything. My son did not
Yeah.
continue with therapy. He did not do anything as far as that. But when we started talking about ripples, that's exactly what happened. When I took
Hmm.
better care of myself, learned what I needed to do, healed some trauma pieces, it changed everything in my family dynamic. And I have a loving, lovely relationship with him right
That's
now.
so amazing. So amazing.
Well, and I encourage every mother, hop into Kristin's group, see if you like it.
Yeah.
If you do, take that time, spend that little extra to go ahead and do that because it will pay out. Think about it. You hope to be with these kiddos for the next 50, 60 years and with their kids, all of
Hmm.
those things. So this is the work to do now. So Kristin, thank you so much. What are you doing for yourself these days as you have this big range in your household?
That's a great question. I do meditation as well, like you mentioned. I found that and it really just nurtures my soul. Just sitting outside for and taking some time outside to feel like the sun on my skin is really helpful. And just really, choosing those things I like to do, like painting. I like to do things with my hands and
Mhm.
memory keeping, those type of things, like creating scrapbooks. So finding time to do that. And it's, small chunks of time, five,
Mhm.
10 minutes here and there, but it adds up.
Absolutely. Tell us again where your .com is. Tell us a little bit more about what they're going to find the activity in the group and how
Yes,
they can just, put their toe in and sample what it's going to be like to work with you.
exactly. So my website is imperfectlywonderful.com. And you can really see me being active on Instagram at imperfectly wonderful motherhood. And I have a lot of free resources there for moms that, help you learn how to become calmer. I have a great guide that's called the 4 p.m. Lifeline because I know for a lot of moms, that's like when the chaos hits, right? That's where you find yourself losing it. So it gives you some affirmations and some different techniques to try, not just taking a deep breath. There's some other things in there that you can try and experiment and see like what feels good to you. But you can also get to know me through my Instagram reels and stuff like that. See if like you like my personality, and then reach out and let's chat and see like how we can make your life better.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kristin, so much. You obviously have lived it. You are living it. I am excited as your journey progresses, what you bring to the table as you begin to launch kids too.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here today. I know there's so many moms and women who are going to be blessed by what you've presented to us today. Thanks,
Oh,
Kristin.
this was so fun. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Faith Over Addiction podcast. Remember, nothing changes until something changes. Today is your day to step out in faith and make a difference. You are a daughter of the King, a woman who can spark incredible ripple effects of hope and healing, not just in your own life, but in your family, your community, and God's kingdom. If this episode encouraged you, bless someone else by sharing it. Send it to a friend who needs a little hope, or post it on Instagram and tag me. I'd love to hear what resonated most with you. And hey, if you're ready to reclaim your God-given identity and create a safe, loving space for yourself and those you care about, let's talk. Book a quick call with me today, and I'd love to hear your story and help you take the next step. Oh, and don't forget to head over to Apple Podcasts, search for Faith Over Addiction, and leave me a review. Your feedback not only makes my day, but helps other women find this podcast and step into freedom too. You are strong, you are loved, and the joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8:10. Until next time, keep walking boldly into the life God has for you.